Hello there, good people. Patricia here. And today we are going to be talking about the fun in the sun reflection time that I've been having recently. Some of it actually didn't start in the sun. I actually started doing some reflection time here in this is my big morning pages journal that I do not do every morning, but I try to stay somewhat on track with engaging on a regular basis and what that looks like for me. And as I often talk about, it is so important to make sure that you give yourself some time to reflect on things. And a lot of times that happens when, we're challenged by something, which is always a good time, when we're upset about something for sure. And even in those times, do we necessarily write it down? Not so sure. I always encourage it. And also when you're not upset, when you're not challenged, but it's like I really need to work through some issues or concerns, and it's just better putting it on paper rather than keeping it rolling around in my head or even talking to someone. Sometimes there's still things that you can't get out when you are speaking to someone directly rather than just your brain and a pen and a piece of paper. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about and why it's so important to engage in that and why this mid-year time is perfect for that as well. But before we get going again, please remember to hit the thumbs up, the like, and subscribe button so that you can help with the promotion of this channel as we reset things and making sure that it's getting out to more people like you who are looking for some support in their in their personal professional life and their growth. Okay, all right, so here's the thing. For me, this most recent time, as far as reflection is concerned, I had not been doing my sitting outside thing. Last summer, I was really, really good about it. And I think it was probably because there was a transition I was doing as far as nervous system reset as well, that I'm still going through, but it was really pretty hardcore. When I look back on it now, I can see. And so it literally became a part of what I did every morning. As hot as it was, I would get my coffee, I'd get my notebooks, I'd get some music, whatever I needed, and I would just go sit outside and get that said. And there's research, I'm not the person to provide all those details, but you can go check it out. There's research about the benefits of getting sun first thing in the morning and how it helps to reset you, not just the morning, but for the entire day. And so that's something that I realized I had not been doing yet this year. I've been spending a lot of time indoors, and I think it's also because I've been doing more of my houseplant collecting and care indoors rather than my outdoor gardening. So that combination of things. Needless to say, I was overdue for an outdoor soak up some sun, get some reflection time in, and get some you know, pen on paper. And so that's what I ended up doing. And it was fantastic. And what was funny is I actually ended up being out there for quite some time because I also listened to one of my podcasts that I hadn't listened to in a moment. Allie Rose, and I just went blank on the name of the podcast. I'll drop it in the I'll drop it in the notes. But her name is AllieAlly Rose. If you search her, and I follow her on Facebook and her podcast, and I love her work. She is a clinical psychotherapist, something like that. Anyway, she is able to engage in hypnotherapy work, and that's a part of her coaching services. And so it's just fascinating how she's able to do that respectfully, mindfully, in a very protective way and also yet still share the growth opportunities and points from that work with her clients. So, highly recommend her just from the work that I've done with her. I haven't had a chance to work with her. Let me take that back. From her listening to and engaging with her written work and her podcast. Um, but she's on my list of people to work with. She knows this already. Anyway, all that to say, listening to one of her podcasts that I hadn't listened to yet, where she was working with a client about money blocks and things like that. I was like, let me listen to this one. I haven't listened to that one yet. And it really got me going. And so I literally was like having to turn off the podcast a few moments so I could start writing. And that's when I knew I was like, I was going to be in a flow, because there were some things that I was like, yeah, I need to work through that I hadn't sat with in a minute. And it was really great for that. And then as I got to the end, something that she always does is she will pose some great questions as a synopsis for the work from the session, and those questions in and of themselves are fantastic prompts. And I'll reference them here, but knowing that those questions are not my own. But as I was going through and, um, you know, dealing with and doing some reflection work of my own, I recognize, I'm like, I just literally built out this whole, um, what's the word, framework for processing some issues or concerns that you may have personally. And I love it. I was like, okay, I have to put this together and get it out there. So hopefully I'll have time to do that in the next week or so. But my point is when you spend that time, you you don't always know where you're going to end up. You can know what you would like to happen, but you don't always know what you're going to end up with and where you're going to end up. And that's okay. It's absolutely okay, because spending the time is what matters. And especially with so much going on in the world today, there's still that mindset of, oh, I don't have time for that. I need to go work on this project. I need to go solve this problem. There's just too much to do. And when I say that reflection time is self care time, I mean that. Because when you take that time out for yourself, you can get to some real realizations, gain some fresh insights and some clarity that you won't get when you're rushing around trying to answer issues and questions and problems for everyone else. And so the other benefit is sometimes you can cut through a lot of noise just by giving yourself that reflection time, and that actually could solve one of the issues or concerns that you're running around trying to take care of. So it's just funny how it works that way. I know that has happened to me often down through the years. And it's always still very insightful when it happens to me. It's like it's the first time again, right? So set up the time and the space however you need it, right? Whether it's taking a walk, for 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be some huge amount of time. It doesn't have to involve some huge spans of anything. I literally grab my coffee, my notebook, I walk outdoors. I work from home. I go to the deck. I sit, out there. I maybe put on a podcast, maybe put on some music, and then, get to writing and getting things and thoughts on paper. And it doesn't have to be so directed. Sometimes it is. I mean, was it last week or so? I was doing a what do I want, what do I need reflection time from one of my other coaches, which is a great reset for nervous system regulation. And that took me to going on to what do I need, what do I want to, what do I need to review from the past that worked, that I can then utilize to build forward, right? And those reflections are things that I can take and incorporate into my daily life in bits and pieces, and and in chunks. Yesterday's venture out was so powerful that like it's going to take a lot more to actually sort through. I was like, I had to start flagging things. Right, it was like, oh my gosh, there's a lot going on here, and that's fantastic. If you have that time, and if you can't write it down right then, use your phone. Take a few, uh, use your voice notes. We have all this technology. We can use it to our benefit for more than communicating with other people. We can use it to our benefit to communicate with ourselves as well. And so I highly recommend doing that. And take your inspiration wherever it comes, right? Don't limit yourself like, well, I've got to be in this, environment in order to get it. No, because sometimes just sitting and looking at a plant will inspire me to engage in some thought about growth and the care that's required, and how there's some patience, that's involved before you see results, right? All of that from just looking at, for me, a new leaf on a plant. I encourage you to do that work. And why I think it's really important to do it mid year is, first of all, we get to a point and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe, we're halfway through this year. And either people go either one way or the other. They're like, oh, wait, great. I got so much done. Or they're like, oh my God, I haven't gotten any of the things I really want to get done. Either way, reflecting on that is important so that you can still make the decision about what it is you're going to do next. If it's been a great year where you've gotten a lot of things accomplished that you wanted to, we've dealt with issues that you wanted to, then it's like, okay, where can I go next with that? What's my next level of that? If you haven't, then this is a great point in time to say, where do I need to go next? What do I need to shed, as opposed to feeling like you have to catch up, because that's our inclination, right? It's like, oh, I didn't get this done. I got to get this. I got to go back and I got to do that in order to catch up. Maybe it's much more about what do you need to shed, because if it didn't get done, if it wasn't the focus, like acknowledging what interrupted that pattern or that goal, and whether it's something that you still do need to focus on moving forward, right? And so that's, I've been in that space as well, and recognizing, and I think I talked about this in a, a, a more recent video from a couple of weeks back, that I thought I was behind and that I wasn't really on track with some of my goals for the year, until yeah, it's the 3 a.m. video. That's the one. And where I looked up and I was like, oh my gosh, I actually am on track with what it is that I want to do. But it's because I've been so methodical and very thoughtful and trying to shed a lot of unnecessary. So it doesn't look like, this shooting forward, a quote with full of accomplishments, quote unquote, but rather taking that consistent daily pattern and work in order to get to where I'm ultimately trying to go, knowing that where I'm uh, reaching for has a much longer tail. The pathway is much longer than the usual short term quote turnaround, win. That's not what I'm doing here. And so it's that's the value of sitting down to actually be with yourself and understanding where you are and where you want to go and where you want to be. There have been times where you look back over the previous 3 6 months, year, and realize things have changed so much that where you thought you wanted to go in the coming year is not where you want to go now. And that's okay. but you don't want to keep going down a road that you realize is the wrong path, and realize and because then you end up someplace where you absolutely don't want to be. So give yourself some grace, give yourself the time to sit down and actually think about it, write it out. There's nothing like putting a few words on paper to get some clarity, or maybe ask more questions that will lead to some clarity later on. But you don't get it if you don't take the time. You only get it if you take the time out to, sit in the sun, sit with a cup of coffee, sit with a favorite drink, and think about what your next steps are, or are, what they are not, and make a decision about where you want to move forward as a result of that time. Okay? So look forward to some additional content regarding the what came out of that reflection period for me, and uh, where it's going to be going, because it was extremely insightful, and I think it's going to be provide some great support for other people as they move forward. But I want to work on it a little bit, right? So now I need to take it out of, okay, this was great for Patricia, but how can this be uh, purpose purposefully used and impactful to those that I serve and work with? And that is going to be the next step. All right, there we are. I hope that this all has been helpful. Please feel free to drop some comments below. Hit me up in the DMs. I love being able to check in with you. Let me know your thoughts. And if you need some support in any of those areas, click on the link to either schedule a consult, uh, and or just go straight to a strategy power hour where we can, where you get to pick my brain for an hour and uh, fast track some of those actions that you really want to take in developing your growth moving forward. Whatever it is, I look forward to engaging with you. Meanwhile, remember to celebrate you in all of your glory and all of those wonderful things, and be empowered, whatever it is you do today. Take care.